Flosstube friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Chris. Today is Wednesday, March 1st, and I'm here with my February wrap-up to talk about my stitching that I've done over the last month. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by. I hope you find something of interest and something that maybe inspires you. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I love visiting with you guys every month and having a chance to share my stitching. So thank you. Thank you. So I did just want to share, I'm still really enjoying my new stitching format that I've been doing this year. I'm still loving working on all of my focus projects. And as I stitch on them, I'm looking forward and anticipating that finish that's going to be coming in the future. Hopefully not too long in the future, but in the future. I am still missing some of my whips. You know, I think about them every now and then, but I'm finding in a way that's kind of a motivation to keep working on my 4 focused ones so that when I finish one of those, then I can bring in one of my whips that are sitting in my whip pile. So that all still seems to be working okay for me. I still haven't done any random wheel spins. I talked about doing that at the beginning of the year, that if I was feeling I needed a break from a focus project, I'd maybe just spin my whip wheel and spend a day or two working on a random whip. But I haven't been doing that. I haven't felt that need to break it up, I guess, so to speak. Partially because I really am enjoying working on all 4 of my focus whips. Partially because I am doing those temperature cells, so that's a natural break there. And there's even another little project I've been working on now and then that I'll show you in a little bit. So I've kind of been having a break, I guess, anyway. So we'll see once I sort of sort through those other things. If I'm just working on those 4 focus projects, maybe I will start feeling like I need a random spin to have a break. Or I might find, again, because I'm missing my other whips, I might find that I do want to break, or I just want to work on some of my other whips. So my friend Barb had mentioned she's doing something similar, but every Sunday she works on a random whip. So I might still do something like that just to keep touching some of my other whips. But so far, again, it's still going. It's kind of evolving as time goes on, and I'm still enjoying it, and I do feel like I'm making good progress on my project. So that's enough of that stuff. Let's get started on the stitching. So as I mentioned, I have 4 focus projects. I have a small, a medium large, and a large project. So let's start with the small. Right now, my small focus project is actually a series. So for this year anyway, I'm considering a series as 1 whip, not as 4, 12, or whatever's in the series. So this is the Year in Chalk series that I'm working on. So there are 12 in this series. So right now I'm going to work through all 12 of these before I say that this whip is complete. So I started with October. So I'll put a picture up here of where it was the last time that you would have seen it. And I managed to finish that without any problem. So here it is here. So I'm stitching these on the called for weeks gunmetal in a 32 count because I couldn't get the 30 count. I am stitching it with the I think it's Gentle Arts. Yeah, with the Gentle Arts chalk, but it does take a lot. I think I got like the 10-yard skein of it, and I'm almost done. Or I don't have a lot of it left, so I'm not obviously going to be able to do the whole series with that one 10-yard skein. And having worked with it, it is very close to like DMC white, so I probably won't worry about buying more of the chalk. I think I'll just switch to the DMC white. But so this is October, and then each month has a called for over dyed for the color, because each month is just the white and then one color. And I've just pulled from my stash. Some of them I have the called for. Others I've sort of just picked something that I think is similar, or even some of them I've even switched to a different color that I prefer, I think fits better. But so this is October, and it's done in the called for carrot, Gentle Arts carrot. So that one is done. When I finished that one, then I went to November. So this is what November looks like. And this is one where I changed up the color a little bit. I did it more in a brownish color, whereas that was more of an orangey red color, at least in the photograph. That what it looks like. So that's November. And yeah, I think this might have been Weeks Dye Works Tiger's Eye. I'm not 100% sure. If you're interested in any of my colors that I've changed, just message me and I can double check and let you know. And so obviously I finished that one. And so then I've moved on to December. That's what it'll look like when it's done. And that's where I am on it. Peace on. So I'm going to be picking this up today because it's the first of the month again, and this is my first whip in my rotation that I work on for 7 days. So I'm looking forward to stitching on this later today. So that's going well. So I've got 3 months out of 12 done. So that's exciting to get all those mini finishes, so to speak. So next is my medium whip, and it is Shooting Stars, which is, I believe, a 2020 Christmas sell through the Silk Stitching app. I'll put a picture of what it will look like when it's done here. And then I have changed it up a little bit, and I'm stitching it on black. So here's what it looked like the last time you saw it. I'm basically doing it with the called for colors. I'm doing it on a 14 count black. On a 14 count black Ada with the called for threads. Other than this orange color, I toned it down a little bit. It was a little bit brighter and I made it more of a burnt orange color. The other thing I've done that you can't appreciate in the video is I've added the gold metallic DMC to the gold floss. So I've got 2 strands of floss and 1 strand of the metallic for the stars. So it is quite sparkly in real life. So that's where I'm at with that. All of the pink swirls are done. I have a few more you can see of the stars, and then just filling in the blocks of color behind. So that is where that one is at. Next up is my medium large, which is Christmas Village. I'll put a picture here of what it will look like when it's done. This is by Sarah Guramani. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. This I am doing on a, I believe it's a 28 count, maybe lamb's wool linen. Oh, I'll put a picture of where I was last time you saw it here. And then here is where it's now. It's very big. I'm gonna slide back. So that's where it's at now. So I was working on this area here. So I finished that house and I did a little tree beside it, and I went up and did those 3 little deer, and then I went up here and started working on this house. So that's where I'm at on that one. This is a fun stitch. I like the color palette. And then my large whip is behind the bit, which is a white willow stitching pattern. I'll put a photo here of what it will look like when it's done. I'm doing this on an 18 count oatmeal Ada in the called for DMC. Oh, here's where it was the last time you saw it. And here is where it is now. Oh, sorry, let's move these threads out of the way. Harden the park threads. So I finished that area where the bit and the reins were, and in through his throat, and I'm coming down into his shoulder now. So yeah, I'm over 60%, I forget now, I'm over 60% done. The reason that is that corner that I have left is all shoulder and neck, and it's probably the most solid stitching of the whole pattern. So, but I'm getting there, and he looks great, and I'm so happy. I'm so looking forward to getting him finished and getting it framed and having him hanging up on my wall. Lots of fun. So those were my 4 focus projects. They're all coming along, and I'm still enjoying working on all 4 of them. So, so I did mention that there was one little thing I had been working on a little bit. If you follow me on Instagram, you've maybe seen me post a couple of pictures. But I recently purchased this little leaflet, Leisure Arts leaflet. I think it's $19.99 is when it was from. So I purchased this on a D-Stash site. And it's got a lot of really fun little motifs if you were looking for something for a card or something like that. But I got it when I saw this. So this is like a little 4-season farm scene, barn scene. And you know me, I like a good series, so I thought, I think I'm gonna stitch that. So each square is only 28 by 30 stitches. So they don't take too long to stitch. So the first one that I did was spring. They're so little. My iPad will focus. Oops, sorry. No, it's to focus on my face. Anyway, you get the idea. It's tiny, it's cute. So the one thing you maybe notice I've done differently, when they did their back stitching, it's sort of that old school where they've gone choo, 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 and followed every square, so it looks very pixelated. I decided to make straighter lines, and I really like how it turned out. So it's really fun because, well, let me show you the next one that I did. So the next one that I did was autumn. So there's spring and autumn. So in each one, the tree changes, obviously. And then you can see the fields behind the barn. So they change. You can sort of see the furrows, like the rows. And then the colors change with each season. The sort of grass down here changes a bit. This one you can see there's a few leaves scattered around. So that's really fun. And then the next one that I did, and I have it in the frame because this is how I'm going to frame them, was winter. So in this one, pardon the glare, it's just snow in the fields behind, and there's snow on the roof of the barn. Obviously no leaves on the tree. So yeah, I just think it's really clever that a designer can work with such a small amount of stitches and create all those variations in the pattern. So I just have summer left that I'm gonna stitch. I'm going away with some friends at the end of this month. I'm really, really looking forward to it. And I think I'm going to take summer and stitch it when I'm away for the weekend because, again, it's a nice little compact project, and it's not too challenging for counting, and I can finish it probably when I'm away for the weekend. So I'm calling that seasonal farm scene. It doesn't really have a name in the book, but again, that's from this Many More Minis. So where does that bring us? Okay, that brings us then to my temperature charts and my black work chart that I was kind of doing as a weekly thing. So let me show you where those are at this point, then I'm going to talk about them a little bit. So the first one that I'm doing is the Jardin Privé. It was from 2022. It was a free temperature chart that she created for her, you know, people that are fans that like her style. And I do really love her style. She's got so many cool little motifs on this. So it's kind of like a garden scene. So you can see there's the wheelbarrow and the little bird's nest and the gardener and the little house. And then each flower is a week, and you fill in the flowers with the temperatures. And if you've watched any of my other videos, the chart was designed that each petal was a full color, but I had seen some people that had stitched that last year, and I wasn't loving how erratic, I can't think of a good word for it, but irregular the flowers were. I guess because, you know, flowers don't grow like that with all those different color petals. So I decided for some uniformity, I would stitch the outer part of the petals white and then just fill in the color. So that's what I've been doing. So you can see the different colors in there. So the purples are the cold colors and the yellows the warmer color. The blues are in between those. So that's where that one's at. The other one I was doing, because I discovered it after I found the Jardin Privé one, is this one by Paint with Stitches. And I'll put the contact information in the drop down box down below. So this is a really cool skyline, and you could customize it depending on your province, or she had, I think, some international ones that you could, you know, pick a country, a landmark from a country, and it would go in that July and August spot. So there's a skyline, which I completed. I stitched the complete skyline, and then I was just filling in the colors. So there's January and February there. So there's where that one is at. And then the other one I was working on weekly with those ones was my black work cell. I'll put a picture here of what it will look like when it's finished. And here's where I am there. So I've done a few more squares since you last saw it. And this is really fun. I enjoy working on these. Although I am finding it interesting because, you know, you look at this particular square right here and you go, well, that's pretty simple. But when you're actually stitching it, it's not as simple as it looks. Especially because you're trying to find, or at least I tried to find a path that I'm not carrying the thread over open holes in the Aida, because I don't want you to see them through the Aida when it's framed. So that's been fun. So let's go back again. So I have been finding some issues. Please forgive me and don't judge me. The temperature chart, Kristen temperature chart cells, I don't know, maybe we're not meant to be, but so this one, as I mentioned, I really like Jardin Privé patterns. I love the little motifs that she's put in here. I love the color palette, but I'm not loving how the flowers look. I'm not loving how the flowers look with the color. And if I'm honest, I probably will not hang this in my home. And as much as I love the designs, like the motifs and things, it's a lot of stitching just to do for fun and then put in a box. Like, that's only like not even half, I don't think, of the stitching, because obviously there's all the other, because there's 52 of those flowers, and then there's a bunch more motifs on the bottom half of the pattern. So, and I love this fabric. So this one's gonna be retired. I doubt I will come back to it, but I'm not gonna do anything drastic with it right now. I'm just gonna set it aside while I think about it a little bit more. You know, I'm gonna keep in mind that those motifs are out there. If I ever needed a motif like that for something, then I might take advantage of that and stitch, you know, those cute garden motifs. So that one's gonna be set aside. I guess the other thing too, because this is so much stitching, I'd sort of always planned that I would just do these on, you know, one day every week and stay caught up. You know, originally I'd wanted to have all of the framework stitching done, so all I had to do was fill in the colors. but that didn't happen. And I find even now, like it's Tuesdays that I'm doing these, and I'm basically spending any stitching time I have on Tuesday filling in the flowers, filling in the windows of the buildings, and doing my black work. And if I'm lucky, you know, I might get in half an hour to do some more of the framework stitching on this. So I'm not getting very much done. I think there's going to come a point where I catch up. And again, I just don't want to devote that stitching time to something that might just end up staying in a box. I'd rather devote that stitching time, you know, to some of my focus projects that I do want to get finished and I do want to hang in my home. So that's why I'm thinking I'm just going to set that aside for now. This one, I love Skyline. So I love the look of this. I like that black silhouette. But because this is on 18 count Aida, and because I'm stitching 2/1 because I want that solid color, when I try to come back and fill in these little holes, it's not fun stitching because I'm trying to squeeze my needle in where there's already, you know, 2, 3 threads, double threads actually, and sometimes it's hard to fit it in. Sometimes it's hard to fit it in and not split the threads, so then it looks a little bit odd. So I don't pull this out and look forward to stitching on it. It's kind of like, oh, let's just get it done and move on to something else. It doesn't take long to stitch on it, but I don't enjoy it. So it is also going to be retired for now. Now this one I didn't mention. This one obviously I was doing for 2023. This one, when I found it, I really wanted to stitch it, and I didn't think it would take up a lot of time, which it doesn't. So I decided I would do it, but I was going to do it for 50 years ago. So it is the temperatures from 1973, because I kind of wanted to compare and see how they compared to this year. So this one is going to be set aside. I might even put it in my whip pile. I'm not sure, because it obviously could be done at any time because all those temperatures have already happened. So again, it's going to be retired for now and set aside while I think a little bit more about it and decide what I want to do. This is one I would probably hang up in my home just because I think the skyline is really cool, and it's Toronto, and it's from 1973, which is the year they broke ground for the CN Tower, which is that landmark there in the middle, which is in Toronto. So those guys are going to get set aside for now. This one, again, I'm enjoying stitching on this. I do want to finish this. I do want to hang this in my home. But again, I'm finding I almost resent spending time on it when I'd rather be working on my focus projects. So I think what I'm going to do with this guy is put it in my whip pile. So it will eventually either, you know, be a random spin, or it will come up as a focus project down the road, sort of thing. So where does that leave me? Well, I still really like the idea of a temperature cell. I think because, yeah, you don't know what colors you're going to be stitching until those days happen. And I decided there was one other one that I had seen in my search for the best, for the greatest temperature cell, and that was this one. And again, I forget the designer's name, but I'll put it down here. I know it's apricot something or other. And I always liked this one from the time I saw it. And I have decided I am going to stitch that one. So I've started it. And in fact, I'm caught up to where I am. And I'm feeling a little bit like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, because this one is too big. This one, the holes are kind of like too small and challenging to fill in with the colors. But this one is just right. And the thing I like about this one is these little hearts are actually fun to stitch. I look forward to stitching them. Because there's no framework, so to speak of, again, you just sit down and stitch the hearts. You don't have to try and fit the stitches in between other stitches that you've already put in place. And because they flow the way they do, I feel you can see the color changes better. And I went with the designer's color scheme for the temperatures, but then modified it a little bit to colors that I like the way they blended together. And maybe I'll take a picture of it and put it in here to show you the blend of the colors. And I think you sort of see that as the hearts are placed, kind of thing. And looking at this right away, you can see like the dark purple ones are the cold days and the lighter green ones are the warm days. And I think it's going to look really neat when it's finished. And this is something that I would frame and hang on the wall. It's not too big. It's a nice size. It's really fun to stitch. I like the colors. And I just think it's going to look cool when it's done. And I'm okay with, you know, people looking at it and just going, oh, that's really cool, and not knowing that it's a temperature chart. Whereas I think people would look at this and go, what is that? You know, like, why does that look like that? Why is that hanging on your wall? Which I guess would spark the conversation, but I don't want it to be that obvious to people that that's what it is. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm still going to work on this once a week. Right now I'm doing Tuesdays, temperature Tuesdays. And yeah, like last night I stitched 7 hearts in like, you know, less than an hour sort of thing. It doesn't take long to do. So I'm really happy with the decisions I made. I am a little bit sad. I don't like to give up on projects, but life is short. I have a lot of stuff I want to stitch. So I made those hard decisions, and I think that's what I'm going to do for now. So please don't judge me. My never-ending struggle for finding the perfect temperature. So, and if next year I start talking about doing another temperature cell, maybe tell me, you know, Chris, remember what happened last year. Feel free to correct me or reprimand me. Okay, I'm back. So that is it for my stitching. My plans for the month of March, which has started now, is to carry on with my 4 focus projects and my 1 temperature chart that I'll work on every Tuesday. And then I may or may not have a random wheel spin once a week. Whether I do that on Sunday like Barb is doing, whether I do it on Wednesdays, you know, then I could call it Whip Wednesdays just because that sounds fun. But we'll see. Right now, I'm happy working on my 4 focus projects, so we'll just keep going with that for now. So as far as the stitching goes, that's everything I have to share today. My last 2 segments are a sneak peek into my Etsy shop and fun finds on Instagram. So if you're just here for the stitching, that's fine if you're going to head out. But if you're curious and want to see a little bit of what else I have to share, then stick around. So sneak peek into my Etsy shop. So the most recent thing I've been working on to add to my Etsy shop are my little floss organizers, is what I call them. So they look like this. There's a foam stabilizer in here, so they're nice and hefty. They're nice and stable. The pockets are all clear vinyl, so you can put your floss bobbins in. These are Pip and Chip floss bobbins. I'll link them down below. They are thicker than your standard floss bobbins. Somebody had asked me one time if they fit in these pockets, so they do. There's 16 pockets on each side, so you have 32 pockets. And it's a really nice size to just slip into a project bag, standard size project bag. Oh, that'll be Ollie. So yeah, so this one I made with some of the Teresa Kogut fabric, sort of her Christmas line. I forget the name of it. I'll put it down here. You don't see a lot of the fabric, but and so this one is kind of like a red, white, and blue one. This one's a Riley Blake fabric. They're little honeybees. This one's just a gray with a pink polka dot. And this is a pretty floral, yellow and gray floral. So I really like this style. And here I'll show you. So this is one more that I made for myself. So these are the standard plastic DMC bobbins in these pockets. So again, double-sided. I like these because I can put my floss in order. So it makes it really, really easy and quick to find the bobbin that I need. You know, before I finished this one, these flosses were stored in the project on a ring, which I find just a little more frustrating to work with, and then threads are dangling, and which is the other reason I'm not a fan of floss drops, which again, I know everybody loves floss drops. I'm probably one of the exceptions to the rule, but I don't like all the dangling threads. So this is just a nice, neat way for me to store my threads. I love the clear vinyl because I can see the color. I have made floss organizers before, and you've probably seen them too, where they put like a binding along the top, so you don't just have this cut edge of vinyl. There's like a fun, colorful piece of fabric along the top just to sort of finish it off and make it look pretty and fun. And I've done that before, and I do like how that looks when you're looking at the floss organizers, but I've found they don't function as well because when you put your floss in, oftentimes that binding is covering up the number, so then you can't see the number. So that's why I have elected to make mine with no binding along the top, just the clear vinyl pockets. You can see everything really clearly. It's not like it's not going to unravel or anything, it's just vinyl. So, and they slip in and out really easily. They don't fall out. My backing, I used to use felt, white felt on the backing, but the felt doesn't hold its shape very well, so it could get distorted in the process of sewing. So now this is actually fusible fleece interfacing with white cotton fabric on the back, so it's nice and stable and holds its shape. And because it's a little bit fuzzy, it just helps them stay in the pockets so they're not going to fall out on you. But yeah, so those are up in my shop, minus this one, because this one I've kept for myself. But these 5 are all up in the shop. If that's something you're curious about or interested in, the shop is linked below if you care to check it out. But if not, that is fine. So yeah, the last thing that I like to do, the last segment, is my fun finds on Instagram. If you're somebody that's on Instagram, you probably, even if you're not on Instagram, I'm sure everybody knows that this weekend coming up is the Nashville Needlework Market, which is a big event where it's not open to the public. It's just the designers are all there and shop owners are there. And it's when the designers release all of their new patterns, fabrics, threads, that type of thing. And what's been happening is the designers have been posting sneak peeks or full reveals of their new patterns on Instagram. And then we as stitchers can contact our local needlework shop or our favorite online shop and pre-order those new designs that are coming out, and the shops, when they go to Nashville Needlework Market, will pick those up for us and bring them back, and we can get them in our hot little hands. So of course Instagram has been flooded with a lot of the designers posting their new releases, and there's tons, and there's tons that I love. So obviously I don't want to show you every single one, and I know there's some that maybe are more common than others that people, you know, there's certainly certain designers that people gravitate towards. So I tried to pick a few that were maybe people you don't see as often, or some of them are just ones that I just really, really like. So let's get started. I'm gonna put a full picture over so you can see it, and just share a little bit about why I picked it or my thoughts, and then we'll kind of move on from picture to picture. So the first one I want to show you is a design by Donna, and it's called Seasonal Saltbox House Pillows. And you know me, I love a good series. I really like the color palette on these. They look like fun little stitches. They'd be easy to switch out from season to season. And who doesn't love stitching a nice house, right? So that one I thought was adorable. And I'm going to kind of keep it on in the back of my mind for maybe a future purchase. So the next one I wanted to share was a Teresa Kogut. Everybody loves Teresa Kogut. She has so many great patterns. But this one just, I don't know, it made me smile. It's called Kindred Spirits. I love the colors. I love how the bustle, the dresses, there's those birds sitting on the bustles. I just thought that was so cute and made me smile. I like the patterns in the dresses. I just thought that would be fun to stitch. And yeah, you know, we're all stitchers, so we're all kindred spirits. So I love the sentiment of the piece as well. This next one is from Erica Michaels. It's called Quilting ABCs. It looks like it's going to be a 5-part series, and it looks so fun. Every letter of the alphabet is sort of like an inspirational saying. So be amazing, be kind, be zen, be you. And each little square also has like a little quilt block in it or some quilting motifs. And I just thought, what a great way to combine cross stitch, quilting, inspirational sayings, little mini finishes. So yeah, I thought that one looked like a really fun pattern as well. My next one is a couple of patterns from Cherry Hill Stitchery. I really like this design style. I think I like that it's kind of, it's simplistic in a good way. And it has a limited color palette, which really appeals to me personally. And I just really like these little flowers. I thought they just looked like fun and happy. So this first one is called Market Bouquet, but I believe there's 3, I don't know if it's a series or if they're all in one pattern, but the first one's Market Bouquet, and then this next one, this is called Freshly Picked. And then there is a third one, but I didn't have a photo of it, so. Next one, very popular designer. Everybody loves Paulette Stewart from Plum Street Samplers. And this first one is called Penny Spring, and it is adorable. I love the pink colors. I love the pennies around the border. You know, big white house and that fox standing on the branch. Like, who doesn't love that? So I am curious, is there going to be a penny summer and a penny fall and a penny winter? Because that would be fun. Another one that I saw of Paulette's is this one. It's called Starbucks. It's called Starbarks. A play on Starbucks. So it's another one in her little Dachshund series that she has done quite a number of these patterns, and I just love her clever wordplay and these cute little dachshunds, and I think it's a great addition to that series. The third one of hers I wanted to include is Float, which is a collaboration that she is doing with Beth Twist from Heartstring Samplery. So Float is float like a butterfly, and this is a really pretty pattern, I think, with all these colorful butterflies. I love how on the pattern it says pin keep or pin give. I believe that's what it says on there, because yeah, a lot of us make these little pillows and give them away. So that is Paulette's portion. Excuse me. And so then this is Beth's portion. It's called Sting and has the little bumblebees on there. And then here's a photo of the two of them together. So that's a fun stitch as well. The next one I wanted to show you was this Primrose Cottage. You've maybe seen, they've done, I think, a few other of these sort of bee-themed stitches, and they're all in the same color palette, which I really like, this color palette. And this is I Would Rather Be Stitching. So again, what stitcher wouldn't love to stitch something like that? Another fun one that I saw was Autumn Lane Stitchery. I really like their art style, and this one is called Spring Has Sprung. So again, I wonder if they're going to do one for each season, but This one, I just love that adorable little chick in the center with the little daisy umbrella over its head. That's just too cute. So, and then of course I had to include hands-on design. Kathy has done a new series this year. I don't know if, I forget what the series is called, but it's with plaid, right? And she actually, Autumn was a freebie that she gave to us. And then she's done winter, summer, spring, and fall. Ollie, can you leave Mommy stitching alone? Thank you. Sorry, he's just getting into the whips. Yeah, so she's done the 4 seasons already, and now she's doing plaid all year, I believe is what she's calling it. And this is actually a Canadian one that she's done that a friend of mine pointed out to me. She has the 4th of July, but you know, she also did one for us, I guess, for Canada Day, so to speak. It's called Oh Canada. And these are really nice. Again, quick little stitches, really fun colors on the dark fabric. The colors really pop. And she always has creative ways to display your stitching. And I'm thinking maybe those little display boards are available to purchase somewhere, but I haven't looked into that myself. Oh, and then there was this October House Fiber Arts. This is called Honey Fair, with this cute little bee skep with the sort of geometric pattern in it. I thought, again, that looked like a really fun stitch, and those soft, warm colors. And this is actually a follow-up to Strawberry Fair, which I think there's a sale going on right now with that. Always being goofy, sorry. So yeah, so Strawberry Fair again, cute little bird with the strawberry with the geometric patterns in it. So I just thought that was a really nice companion piece to that. And again, I'm interested to see if she comes out with more in that sort of style. The last one I want to share is one of my favorite designers, Tellin Emblem, and this is just a sneak peek. I haven't found any other photos of this, so if you've seen more or a full photo, please let me know in the comments down below. But it looks like this is going to be a new series called Tangled Tidings, and this one's Merry Christmas. So I'm assuming she's going to have different celebrations that she's going to do. But this one, you can see this beautiful cardinal, and there you can see a bit of a poinsettia there beside it. And just again, bright, bold colors, cute birds. What's not to like, right? So I'm really excited to see what other celebrations she's going to come up with in the future. So that is just a small sampling of all this stuff. Thank you for sitting through all of that. But I just wanted to share some of the things that I had seen that I thought were just really interesting, really fun, and so much to look forward to, so much to stitch. We're just very lucky that the cross-stitch community is so vibrant, and the designers are so creative and are so great at putting out new stuff all the time that you were never short of anything to stitch. So that is it for me today. Thank you so much for stopping by to visit with me. If you have any questions about anything, if I forgot to mention something that you're curious about, just leave a comment down below. But until then, have a great month of March, and I will see you at the end of this month to give you my update then. So until next time, bye everybody.
no hurting your feet. Okay,